Good morning and welcome to Gulfstream today. Brian Nato, Acacia Courtney with you on a beautiful day here in Hollandale Beach. A little muggy, but just a little bookkeeping before we get into the card. We are off the turf today. We had, about 3 inches of rain.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, late Wednesday into Thursday, and we're kind of still digging out a little bit, so we'll be off the turf today.
Absolutely off the turf. So all of the scheduled turf races, including those 2 stakes and the Sunshine Stakes, will be moved to the Tapeta. As we often say, the benefit of that is that we have very few scratches on the card as a result of those races being taken off of the turf. Of course, Pete Aiello will keep you updated throughout the day with all of those changes.
And it's January 22nd, which means we are T-minus 7 days away from the $3 million Pegasus World Cup next Saturday. It's really now finally coming together. We'll draw those races on Tuesday. Just excitement galore down here.
Oh, absolutely. And my mom's birthday today as well, so wanted to wish her a happy birthday. But yeah, of course, the countdown is on. That's for sure. The next week going to be craziness around here. You can feel the excitement building.
You feel the craziness too a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Well, we do work with Ron Nicoletti, so.
That's the legend Ron Nicoletti, and he'll be with us later today for the opener, actually, which is 12 o'clock. And let's get right to it here. $16,000 maiden claimer. We are on the Tapeta, about 1.70 miles. Heavy favorite number 8, Savage Sailor, you went with, and is definitely tough to get by.
Yeah, this one to kick out. Did you have a pick 5?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Good call. Thank you. You're trying to steal my thunder. I was trying to steal my own thunder, I guess. A deep spread here. I'm a little against it with the heavy favorite. We'll talk about that in a second. A very heavy favorite in race 2. Awesome Family is going to be something to 5 in there. Very, very low. A spread in race 3. Number 4, Morning Colors for me on top. This first of 2 Florida bred stakes in race 4. Don't forget, we are off the turf. We'll run that at 9 furlongs on the Tapeta. You know, Shamrocket is going to be tough. I'm a little leery of him, so I did go Max KO with a little more tactical speed for Safi Irad Ortiz's first mount back. Welcome back, Irad, in a single in the get-out leg. You're the best. In a race where you could go a few different ways, I'll get a little value there to single it in the finale, the final leg. I spread, as you can see. Let's talk about your top pick, Savage Sailor. A lot of people's top pick, I would think, occasionally.
Yeah, I ended up on this one, Brian, but I really don't trust him completely.
Yeah.
I think that actually spreading in this race is wise. Yes, it's the drop-in class. This is a horse that ran well on the Tapeta here at Gulfstream last time out for Grand Motion, who has done well with a limited number of starters here this meet. They all seem to be spotted well and running well, and he has a chance with the Fillies and Mare Stakes a little bit later on. Tyler Gaffalione aboard once again. Just thought that he kind of made sense in here. I actually was really intrigued by Papa Charles. I don't love the post to the outside, and that's why I kind of defaulted to the favorite.
Yeah, he was the last one I threw into my pick 5, Papa Charles. My long shot play is in here. Poetic Code, the 6, Javier for Antonio Sano, who's done well on the Tapeta. He's got a very positive ROI, and I just thought this horse, he didn't have a trip last time, but he was in a race where they went 1-2 around the track together, so there was no flow help. I thought it was a dead rail that day, too, on the Tapeta, and he was stuck down inside. So hopefully he gets a little better scenario today. Javier's done very, very well at the championship meet. I know we lose Tyler Gaffalione to the heavy favorite, but there's going to be value here. I look up very early in the betting. I see the board 17-1 right now. He's supposed to be around that price because, quite frankly, he's got to move forward in a big way. There's a lot of horses coming out of that race as well. El Brillo down inside didn't run at all on debut for Bill Mott, and he was bet down that day. Blinkers go on, Lasix goes on, second time out for Bill, too.
Yeah, you'd imagine that this was one who could potentially take a step forward. He was a horse that I was really suspicious of at a short price on debut, especially the fact that he debuted for 16. But you'd have to imagine we're going to see a better performance today. I felt uncomfortable leaving him out as a result. Also thought that Board Certified did take a step forward, getting some more distance last time out for Jorge Duarte Jr. The problem is that this barn's horses have taken money. We haven't really seen them deliver as of yet in the meet.
I agree. The problem with the opener is if you're against Savage Sailor, you could go about 6 different ways and not get there. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. Early pick 4 in race 2. It's a $16,000 maiden claimer. We're back on the Tapeta, sprinting about 5 this time. You go to number 3, Five Finger Discount, who I have firmly in my mix as well.
Yeah, I went against the favorite in here. This was my long shot play of the day, and I see you sniffed it out as well. The move worked for me the other day for Sarah Nagel, going turf to synthetic, and I'm going to try to get this one home once again. I know that he did debut for 16. That was on the turf. Didn't really run in either of those races so far, but has had trouble, and has had trouble out of the gate as well. He has had the chance to train over the Tapeta, which is an angle I've started to really pay attention to as well, for trainers to kind of get an idea of how these horses will handle the surface. So I was encouraged by that. And I thought that there could be some other speed to keep Awesome Family company, which is why I thought Five Finger Discount could potentially close.
I mean, it's a small sample, but the barn is 3 for 8 going turf to synthetic. So there's a track record there. Awesome Family might be 2 to 5 in here. I mean, he's going to be an extremely short price, regardless of who you might go against him with. They have to improve a giant amount. I singled him. I couldn't really see it. You did mention maybe the pace could be a little tricky for him, but his last 2 races, they lay over this field.
No, I agree. He is the one to beat. He does have that Awesome Family. I'm out of Garter Belt. He's been a terrific producer, including Garter and Ty and others. So we'll see if this is the day for this gelding to get to the winner's circle.
We'll go on to race 3. It's our first of, we've got 4 replays to show you today. This is a $20,000 claimer. We're back on the Tapeta here. Fillies and mares 4 and up, about a mile in a 16th. A replay on Morning Colors, the 4, my top pick as well as yours.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at the start. Keep your eyes on the number 4. It's actually amazing that Jesus Rios was able to stay in the saddle. You see him have to kind of stand up and really steady pretty badly. If he had lost his irons or something worse had happened, you really couldn't have blamed him given how this horse started. And this is a mare who typically is forwardly placed and was really taken out of her comfort zone. She wired the field to win 2 starts back. This was going a distance last time out, and she was able to close from off of it after a tough break. You have to give her credit. She is hickory and very versatile as well. She's now off the claim for Rohan Crichton and gets the win here for $20,000 back in November, freshened up a little bit since then. And Lido Key is the morning line favorite. I just don't trust her.
Yeah, and we'll throw a trainer stat for Crichton too, and just to pick up more on what you were laying down. I mean, we're talking $20,000 claimers here. This isn't Nick's Go and Life's Good. These horses don't have moves and gears, and she showed it. That was really impressive. So here's the stat. It's right there in front of you. 7 for 22 off the claim, 32%, 222 ROI over the past year, and you know, you would think you're allowed to think this horse is going to improve even more today. And both Acacia and myself like her. You know, you mentioned Lido Key for Maker and Mike Rapoli. What do you get today? Didn't run at all last time in a 50 starter, albeit against tons better in New York. Now here she is for 20. She's a 6-year-old daughter of Lemon Drop Kid. I respect her best race, but I don't know if we're going to get it today.
Yeah, she's a little bit tough to trust because she is 3 for 17 with 5 seconds and a third. Her last 2, I would say, were actually very disappointing when Giggle Factory really got just a comfortable trip to win 2 back at Belmont. So I just was a little bit suspicious of her at what will likely be a short price on the drop in class for Top Connections, and I thought Morning Colors could potentially offer a little bit more value. I was a little intrigued as well by the 1 Gray Charlotte for Louis Carvajal Jr., who does also drop out of, speaking of that Giggle Factory race, was up against it that day, and drops down to a level that I just think that she fits.
Yeah, and she's tactical too, and I think that's beneficial. She's drawn well too. You're going to get first run on the favorite Lido Key. So yeah, not out of this at all. First of 2 stakes come in race 4. It's the Sunshine's turf here, 4 and up. Now don't forget, it's the Sunshine's Tapeta now. Actually, we're going to go 9 furlongs on the Tapeta. We are off the turf today. All eyes on, all right, you're picking up what I'm thinking too. All eyes are on Shamrocket. Yeah, let's talk about Shamrocket. He's clearly the horse to beat. He's all class. We talked about him last week too. He had never run on dirt.
Yeah.
Well, he gutted it out. I don't know how impressive he was, but he got the job done. Kudos to him. Wasn't his best day. He doesn't love that surface. He got it done. He's got to prove it right back now on a surface he hasn't been over either.
I think plain and simply just had more class than what he faced last week. He does come back in just 7 days. Not a move that you see very often for Todd Pletcher. He has a ton of back class, but he's a grinder. I mean, even to win the Sunshine Classic on dirt last time, he just did it by a slim margin. And I remember Javier Castellano telling me, you know, he just rode him like he was the best horse in the race and knew that he was going to be able to get it. He handled the dirt. He obviously did not run very quick to do so. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have to do that today either. I had actually had Max KO on top all along.
100% same.
But I thought, just liked that this horse had more tactical speed versus Shamrocket, especially on turf. We'll see what happens on Tapeta. tends to take himself very far out of the race.
And to me, I think the 9 is a better fit for him today,
Yes.
as opposed to Shamrocket, who wants to grind you down, who wants to run all day. Lure him in is kind of almost a lesser version of Shamrocket. He wants to go all day too. Conversely, Max KO, tactical, like you mentioned. I think the trip is better for him. He's going to be a better price too. I think that's the other big thing.
Yeah, I think even with Irad Ortiz back and Safi Joseph Jr., Shamrocket going to take all of the attention. So this would be your opportunity to find some value on Max KO, who comes out of the Claiming Crown Emerald. He was a little bit further back that day than he typically is. Obviously, that was a tough race. We saw Clear Vision come out to win a graded stake there. But typically, he is kind of up in that first flight. And I didn't see much pace at all. The top horses want to come from the clouds.
I agree, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if Irad says, you know what, I've got a chance to steal this. Let's just go. Because the other thing, too, is he was necked out on the Tapeta 2 back. Don't forget, so I think that plays in here as well. Lure him in is the other one, but like I mentioned, he's very similar to Shamrocket in that he needs to get, he takes a while to get going, and I think he wants to run farther.
And he's just not a winning type either. He, like Shamrocket, was able to grind out the win 2 back based off of his class and face Red King last time out. He's run against some nice horses, but he is just one of those relentless grinding distance turf horses. One
more before Rainbow 6 time. The race 5 ends the early 5 and early pick 4. It's a 62.50 claimer. These are 2 L's, fillies and mares 4 and up, sprinting 6 on the main track here. And you go to number 1, down inside, Ideal Breeze, Irad, Jorge Delgado.
And I had originally had Well, She's Handsome on top, so I scratched into this one, who's actually the former Mike Yates runner. Let's just be realistic. It was a poor claim. This one didn't work out last time out as the favorite. After tiring, has early speed, drops in class today. I would imagine will be aggressive from the inside. And one thing I just preferred about her is that she is more lightly raced than some of the others in here who have just really kind of stacked up some of the excuses.
The only positive I could come up with that Irad says, sure, I'll ride. Because as you alluded to, it was not pretty last time. She was essentially walked across the line for 20. Here she is now for 6,250 off the 25 claim, 2 back. Boy, tread very, very lightly in here. Maybe she breaks running and doesn't stop, but there is speed to her outside, too. I went with number 5, You're the Best, one of 2 for Victor Barboza. In here, Paco is aboard. The post is perfect for this one's kind of style. And I think, Acacia, the 3 main rivals are to her inside. It gives Paco options here.
Yes, and that does include the other one for Barboza and Freezer Burn, who I would imagine would show some speed as well. The problem is that Freezer Burn just hasn't seen the winner's circle in a very long time. I think the kind of wild card is Musically Inclined, who runs on the main track versus trying to find a Tapeta race, and has actually never run on the main track before coming down for Mike DiPaolo.
Yeah, I mean, I've got her in second, and Mike, a Woodbine-based trainer that theoretically is bringing horses down this winter to run on the Tapeta. Well, this gal has never run on the main track. We're running races for her on the Tapeta. The fact Mike puts her in on the main track, I think there might be something there.
Yeah, it could be really intriguing. Emma Jane Wilson rode her up at Woodbine last time, too. Just thought she was kind of the wild card of the race.
Yeah, I agree. And she's going to get some pace help, too, I think, to make a run in there as well. Okay, that's our first break now on Gulfstream today. When we come back, Rainbow 6 time. Ronnie's got a ticket, $450,000 in the gross guarantee. Stay tuned.
Mounted for glory. Arrogant, gun runner, city of light, mucho gusto, and Knicks go. Racing, the thunder and the lightning on the track, energy in the stands. 5, fashion, entertainment, all for one.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian and Acacia with you on a beautiful day here in Hollandale Beach. We are off the turf today. We got through 5 of the 11 on today's card. That means there are 6 left. That means it's Rainbow 6 time for Ron Nicoletti. That means we think it's 43-20 time as well.
That's good. We don't want to upset the balance of things today. The maidens to kick things off. Ronnie has 3 horses here, including that Chad Brown Firster, who could be intriguing from the outside. Off the turf in the 7th means Ron has a spread. There's actually some intriguing horses coming back to make their 3-year-old debut, including Credibility. 8th race is a 3-horse spread too. That's a nice one as well. He will have a single in race number 9 today with the 3 Mac, who I know is his long shot play of the day. Mac is 12-1 on the morning line. So Ronnie putting all the eggs in the basket of his long shot today. 3 horses in the 10th. That's the Sunshine Filly and Mare. Now Tapeta race, and then 2 in the nightcap with Millennium, Condo, and Fishing for Fun.
Mac is popular in the office because he was my long shot play of the day last time. So Ronnie's going to double up with him today, and I think he's a major player in what is an impossible race we'll talk about. Well, this could be a little impossible too, because everybody kind of looks the same on paper. Acacia and I landed on the same horse. Let's talk about Miles of Smiles, who had a trip on debut, now picks up IRAD.
Yeah, did have a trouble trip, as you mentioned. Took a little bit of money for a Joe Orsino first-time starter, I think, too. Seeing IRAD Ortiz take the call, she also gets Lasix for her 2nd start. Thought that she would be able to build off of that. And actually, I thought ran okay, all things considered, that she had to go through. She just seemed to be one that seemed to be making the logical next step forward today. But there are some intriguing first-time starters, Brian. The 3 Tag Her. I wanted to show this workout from XBTV. This is 2 works back. And yes, she gets outworked, but the horse to her inside is a Colt, Credibility, who we're going to see in the next race, and who is great at stakes place, ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and was 3rd in the Grade 2 Bourbon, and she keeps up with him throughout, and she's just a little filly there as well, and he was actually asked a little bit more. She was never asked to really do anything. She was keeping up on her own accord, so I was really impressed by that workout at Palmettos.
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of her, quite honestly. She's got a nice pedigree. There's a $300,000 earner in the family. You know, Mark's got 2 in here. Luis Saez rides the 7, hard to capture. Sean Bridgman rides the 3, Tag Her. I just didn't know what to make of her. The good thing is, if you're rainbowing here, you get to check the board because, you know, she's supposed to take money in this group.
Yeah, she's out of a Grade 1 winner. The 2nd dam was good on dirt and turf. You mentioned a multiple Grade Stakes winner, Super Escape, who won on every surface for Mike Trombetta and Live Oak. So I thought that she was a little bit intriguing. As far as the other first-time starter does go, for Chad Folklaw, the pedigree is really much more turf meant on the bottom side. The dam winner only start, it was on synthetic, and the 2nd dam was a stakes winner, High Speed Access, who was all turf. So I'm curious to see what this filly by Practical Joke will do.
And they paid $320 for her.
Yes.
She debuts for $50. I mean, it's not a great sign. It doesn't mean she can't win. I would assume she can run a little bit, and it is $50,000. Not giving her away. Don't get me wrong. It's not 12.5 or anything like that. I like the post here, and Tyler's here as well. I just, to me, it's a wait and see kind of approach with her. And you're probably going to get an underlaid price too.
I agree. I think anything that Chad Brown sends out, and rightfully so, will take money. But as far as firsters, I thought that there were a couple different ways you could go in this race and seem much more wide open than maybe just on paper.
I agree totally. Late pick 5 time in the 7th. We'll take a look at my ticket in this optional claimer. These are 3-year-olds. Now we go mile 70 now on the Tapeta to kick this off. We're down to a field of 5. I couldn't separate them, to be quite honest. I used 3 of them in here. The single is in race 8. This is my best bet of the day. It's somewhat bold. Liam's Kiss for Todd, 2nd out. Here's the spread in race 9. It's basically sorry Couch Dreams and Bach, but you couldn't make the ticket on a 9-deep spread. Sorry to those 2 guys. Race 10 is a single with Sugar Fix. We'll talk about the 2nd Florida Bred Stakes, and then in race 11, Fishing for Fun and Beloved Warrior. The latter will be a pretty short price for Safi. This is a good race in race 7. It's unfortunate we lost it off the turf, and we go to the Tapeta now. It's tough too, because I think arguably Acacia, the 2 best horses, Credibility in Wake Surf, don't have the form on the Tapeta that number 4 Always Gambling has, but you went outside to Wake Surf. I've got him in second.
Yeah, and I know he hasn't run on the Tapeta before. What I liked was his tactical speed. That's kind of why I ended up going with him. I really actually liked how he looked a lot last time out when he broke his maiden for Rusty Arnold. And obviously I hadn't seen his first 2 starts in Kentucky, but I thought he'd actually run a really good race on the turf in his debut at Keeneland. Came back and ran very well to win last time at Gulfstream here on the grass. So we'll see how he handles the surface. That's going to be a question. Red Knobs is out, so that was kind of the other kind of horse that I thought was intriguing, would take money, but tactically was so far out of it. Credibility, we can show his race in the Bourbon. I know this was on the turf, but I do think it's worth showing. This is his 3-year-old debut, ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, and he was kind of mid-pack in there. He wasn't far out of it, but it was a big field of 14 in a grade 2, and an important prep for the Breeders' Cup. And he's just kind of one of those grinding types. You can see him, looks like a turf horse. I would imagine that this is probably just Mark Casse saying, yes, it's off the grass. Let's get him a race and point to bigger things for his 3-year-old campaign. But he ran on pretty well, keeping up with the rest of the field to win behind Tiz the Bomb.
Well, he did, and this is who Credibility is. You can draw a line through the Breeders' Cup. It was a terrible post. They were, you know, they were better horses than him, simply put. I mean, Modern Games is a freak.
Well, not to mention there was a delay at the gate,
craziness.
you know,
Well said. So that's not him. So look at the race 2 back, and he's a real threat in here. If he gets over the surface, he's going to be tough to beat. There's no doubt about it. The off the turf now really helps Always Gambling, who's the house horse with proven synthetic form. Yeah,
I put him in 4th, and since there's only 5 horses in here, we're just doing 3 picks. But I agree. He is kind of the synthetic runner. His only time going 2 turns was last time out. So that was a little bit of the question for me. I would hope, yes, he doesn't have to face Red Danger today. We're going to see him get into the race a little bit more coming out of stakes. And that's why I did end up using the number 1, Lament, who had trouble, tends to find trouble. But this is another one who did win on Tapeta up at Woodbine in off the turf race, but that's where he broke his maiden. And Luis Saez rides from Mark Casse as well.
Yeah, and California Frolic's pretty good on the Tapeta as well. He ran well the other day. Not a winning effort, but so that's worth noting as well. Late pick 4-time in race 8, and I sort of get lucky, Acacia. I'll lead here because this is my best bet of the day. And I get a little lucky that I like Liam's Kiss so much because if you don't like someone in here, you have a problem because this is
a tough time.
It is, right, and you have to spread. But Liam's Kiss is my best bet of the day, and we're going to take a look at a trainer stat for Todd Pletcher in here as well. This was pretty wild. First time route on dirt at Gulfstream in 3-year-old maiden special races, 15 for 46. It's 33%. The ROI is impressive too because obviously this is a Hall of Fame barn that everything that he does gets bet hard. Liam's Kiss, I'd like to hear your opinion too, as astute as you are at watching horses. To me, she just looked like a grinder. She looked like a horse that I thought Tyler had to motivate her last time to get in the game. A, she might have figured it out too late last time. B, she just wants more ground on an extra turn.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the Dam is the sister to Come Dancing, whose kind of best distance was around 7 furlongs. But she was a filly who was so big and actually looked more like a horse that wanted more ground. And my notes from this filly's debut for Liam's Kiss were that she looked a little bit like Come Dancing in that she had that size and that scope, and she'd been very keen in her workouts and was a little keen in the warm-up as well. And I think she expended a little bit of energy before the race even began. I'd expect her to be much more professional today. Second time out for Todd Pletcher. I landed on Butterbean given the fact that she had already shown the ability to get a distance of ground on the main track. She went a mile and a 16th at Churchill last time out. She is a closer. We are running first finish line with these mile and a 16th, so that's something that I'm concerned about. But she's run 2 good races so far, and we know that she's going to handle the distance.
Yeah, I agree. And Kenny McPeak is absolutely loaded with 3-year-olds, colts, and fillies this year. I put Rita Marga in 3rd. You seem to have played against her a little bit. Very fast debut race. The 27-1 last time is long gone here. She's going to try to get 2 turns. She's tactical, tough to win on 7 going on debut, too. I thought she ran very well.
Yeah, she did, actually. She was kind of on the bubble for me, and I nearly put on the number 8, Siempre Elegante, on top because she has much more of a dirt pedigree on the bottom side from the family of Colefront and others. There was a delay in that race, too, when another horse broke through the gate and ran off, and they had to unload the rest of the field, and this filly got really revved up and really, really nervous because of that. She had the inside post. She broke slowly. I thought that hopefully we don't have any delays this time. We're going to see a better performance from her, and John Kimmel second out. Very, very intriguing one at a price.
Yeah, and you popped with him earlier in the meet as well with a second-time starter that ran second at a big, big number I remember you liked. So take note of that. A Daughter of American Pharaoh they paid a lot of money for. Race 9 last time for a pick 3 on the day. We go back to the Tapeta. These are 4-year-olds and up, 12.5, 2 L's at about a mile in 70. This was the race to me where just throw the dart at the board and see where it lands. For you, it was Special Meister.
Yeah, and I just realized that this horse is 20-1 on the morning line, and I had absolutely no idea. So here's a price play for you. This was a bit of a speed play, dropping in class. I thought ran against some tough horses in the last couple, has been a price. Wired the field going 9 furlongs to break his maiden. First time for Oscar Gonzalez. Amisael Jaramillo aboard. I imagine they're just going to jump off and go and try to take him every step of the way.
No one should be 20-1 in this race, and no one should be 5-2, 3-1 in this race because the margin for error is a small one. Sweeney's Cat, for me, has been running in good races, and I thought was really up against it last time. Acacia Closers ran 1-2-4. My note says he was the only pace player to stick around. Ran a 12 on the Thoroughgraph, 72 buyer for Larry Bates, who does a solid job with a small sample at the championship meet so far.
And the morning line favorite is the 10 Big Blue, who goes all the way down from 50 to 12.5. Has never run on synthetic before. 1 for 11 so far. I know it's a significant drop in class, but this is a horse who has no speed, and maybe the drop will help, but I think he's just a little tough to trust.
I agree. I mean, there's levels in between 12.5 and 50, and Rusty said no thanks. The barn's got a couple wins on the meet, blew up the board a couple weeks ago on the turf. That's not going to be the case here. If Big Blue wins, it's a deep spread for me, and I think Acacia, well, she's got a 20-1 on top. I think you're in agreement with me. Second stakes of the day for the Florida breds. We are off the turf here, so we'll go to the Tapeta. These are fillies and mares 4 and up, and the Sunshine Filly and Mare. We'll call it the stakes now. I think Sugar Fix is tough, but I'm interested to hear about Sister O'Toole. This race is very similar to the Colt race earlier in that there's a few in here that want to run farther and maybe one in here that really likes the distance. Sister O'Toole's going to have to hurry today.
She is, and it's interesting because towards the start of her career, I mean, she won on the turf at Gulfstream going a mile. And last time out, though, it was a mile and a quarter, and she came from really far out of it. I don't know when this happened that she's kind of reverted back to what she was doing at the start of her career, and that she hasn't been breaking well. She really was doing a lot better with it back in the summer and the early part of 2021. Then recently in her last couple, she's been off slow. So I hope with Louis Saez aboard, who's ridden her multiple times before. She did win, again, going a mile on the turf here. Showed she could handle Tapeta up at Woodbine in Grade 3 company. I thought she was intriguing, and she faced some really, really good horses. My Sister Nat and Orglande, La Dragon T was beaten in nose in Grade 1 company as well. She's run in some really big races, and I thought had a little bit of a class edge.
You mentioned Grand Motion, too. He hasn't started a lot of horses at the championship meet, 5 for 9 in the exacta, though, so he's pulling a lot of the right strings. I went Sugar Fix, I think 8 to 5 on the morning line here. She's got to prove it on the Tapeta. I get that, but much like the pick earlier, Max KO earlier for Safi, to me, she gets all the best of it here in that Sister O'Toole and Kelsey's Cross, to me, they want to run farther. Sugar Fix very tactical, too.
Yeah, we'll show her last race. It is on the turf, but it was a pretty gutsy performance, I thought, too. Whimsical Muse came back to win, and I don't know if we'll ever see another more excited winner's circle as we did with Big Frank Stable that day on his wedding day as well in the Claiming Crown Tiara. But this was a nice win for her. I thought she really kind of took a big step forward as far as showing her class, and she took a lot of money this day as well.
Yeah, she's going to be tough in here, and I think Safi's got a good chance here. Kelsey's Cross, is she a horse without a distance? I don't know. She's got some class to her. They've run her in some tough spots.
Yeah,
I don't know.
really, really good point. What is her best distance? She is massive. She's a gigantic mare, so you would think a mile and a half would really suit her quite well, except she's won at a mile here. She's run well at a variety of distances. I think it all depends on the trip.
Yeah, I agree, and she's probably going to need a lot of pace help too. Wrap it up in race 11. We go back to the Depita, $35,000 maiden claimers, a mile and 70 for 3-year-olds.
Yeah, I went with Brendan Walsh and Javier Castellano trying to get them home in the get-out race. Just has been facing significantly tougher. Hasn't run great as of yet, but has been running much, much tougher and drops in class today.
Yeah, I've got her in third, him in third. Beloved Warrior is going to be a strong favorite for Safi on the drop. Fishing for Fun, since they added blinkers and got to the Depita, going 2 turns, has really, really elevated his game. Food for thought if you're trying to beat the favorites. We are not done, though, as we finish up on the 11 race card. Lightning round today has got a lot going on. We'll start it with Luis Saez, who won 4 yesterday. I don't want to say you hit a little bit of a lull, but when you win 3 a day, it's you know, you set the bar pretty high. And yesterday he flexed his muscles a little bit with 4. Here you see here in race 5. Take Charge Row at a short number. And Luis is back today. He's going to have several live mounts as well. 4 yesterday. And I think when he won 3 earlier in the meet, he actually tripled up. He went 3, 3, 3. So don't be surprised if he puts up another big number today. He's obviously very live all day with his mounts as well. There you see expert pick. I am in the hot seat today. Maybe that's a good thing with I get the day off next week with the Pegasus. But
yeah, I get that one.
The bar's been set pretty high. I'll try to hold swag.
Wishing you the best of luck. And excuse me that I'm choking over here. Free to play at Gulfstreampark.com. And Brian, you've been doing great with those multi-race wagers. Beat the Expert, though, it just seems to have this opportunity of like putting a black cloud over our head on these days. But it's a lot of fun, and we appreciate you playing along with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that. My picks are on the website and all that. Twitter updated with scratches. We talked in the office yesterday. We thought Stronach 5 carryover. I don't know. We'll see the slate here. I think 2 people hit it, and 2 people, and I'm going to golf clap if you did, because there's no way I was coming close to hitting
just
that.
Shy of 50,000. And look at those win prices as well. Both Laurel, Gulfstream, and out in California as well. Some tremendous handicapping. It's a really fun wager with that low takeout. And as Pete always says, Overlay City.
You said it. $1 minimum and the low 15% takeout. Life is Good worked at Palm Beach Downs this morning, and what will be his last piece of major work for next Saturday. And that clash, here he is winning the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile in a laugher. That clash with Nick's Go, defending Pegasus champion and soon to be, well, I think you're going to announce it, I believe, the Horse of the Year.
Horse of the Year. We would certainly expect that after the tremendous year that Nick's Go has had. But I think a lot will depend for these 2 horses. Who is drawn inside when we'll find out the draw, which is a perfect segue into that. The next section for the lightning round will draw the field of all 3 Pegasus races on Tuesday around 1:30 Eastern. We hope that you'll tune in and watch with us. But I think a lot will depend for Nick's Go and Life is Good. Who's drawn inside? Whose hand is going to be forced? It's short into that first turn, going a mile and an 1/8.
And I'm going to tell you what, I talked to Brad Cox for about 25 minutes yesterday. He was great. We did a little media thing, and he was phenomenal, as he always is. He was very quietly confident, and they are not taking any prisoners next Saturday, and they're not taking Nick's Go out of their game.
Yeah, you would certainly think so. We know what Nick's Go's game is, and can't wait to see him throw it down.
Something is going to have to give, right? I mean, that is just, we can't wait. That's next Saturday. This Saturday, we've got 11 of them, a couple Florida bred stakes. Let's send it upstairs to announcer Pete for scratches and changes. We'll be back with you for the opener in about 15 minutes.
Pegasus, the divine winged horse that flew with heroes mounted for glory. Here begins our story of legendary times, the rarefied air when the stakes are high. Like the moment when you feel the vibe, the thunder and the lightning on the track, the energy in the stands, like music moving through your soul, shaking your hips, making you dance. The stars stars come out in the magic city. For Pegasus they stay, dressed in designers' newest finds, wishing all days could be like this. A moment in the sun, where everything is divine. Racing, vibe, fashion, entertainment. Arrogant, gun runner, city of light, mucho gusto, and Knicks go. Pharrell Williams at the finish line. Lenny Kravitz rocks the runway. Snoop Dogg making it rain. A Jennifer Lopez family affair. Vin Diesel found out that cars aren't the only thing that are fast and furious. This runway on the rail. Post Malone on the mic. Mark Ronson on the ones and twos. Alec Monopoly